Judging a debate event can be stressful, but don't worry, we're here to help. To break it down, in general, whatever side does better to you in defending their case, presenting arguments, and portraying their case should win the debate.
Public forum is a partner debate, and it's a standard debate format. It's where two partners go against each other, trying to support or decline a one-sentence resolution. The timing goes as follows.
The only thing that you really need to know about what content is going to be in each speech is that the first speech on each side is always going to be constructive and pre-written, and everything after that is going to be written within the round and is going to be rebuttal to the other person's case. Crossfire is where the two sides just ask each other questions and respond to the questions. Crossfire works where the team that spoke first is going to be able to ask the first question, and Grand Crossfire is when both teammates on each team come together and ask each other questions.
Now that we've gotten through the format, it's time to go through common mistakes that are usually made during a public forum debate.
This is my final focus speech. One piece of evidence I didn't bring up earlier is that 100% of people who went to libraries ended up dying.
Whoa. Did you just bring up a piece of evidence in your final focus speech? A new piece of evidence?
Yeah.
According to the IHFSA rules, new arguments are allowed in every speech except the final focus. So you can't do that.
Darn.
Now, we all know that libraries are unnecessary, but the question is, what do we do with those unnecessary libraries? Now, I ask you, have you ever been to a library with over 10,000 books? Of course not. They're useless. So just demolish those, wrecking balls through the front of them. Now, I'm sure you're quite curious. Well, Quinn, what about libraries between 10,000 and 3,000 books? Good question. Those are parking lots now. And now I'm sure the big question on everyone's mind, what about the DVDs? Where do they fit? Yeah.
Anywhere in the resolution does it talk about the counterplan and plan that you're saying?
No.
Exactly. The NSDA Association defines a plan or a counterplan as a formalized comprehensive proposal for action. Neither the pro or con side is permitted to use these. Rather, they should use a general idea of what would be able to have you done.
Library lover.
Since we covered all of public forum, it's now time to talk about Lincoln Douglas. Lincoln Douglas takes a more philosophical route rather than the real-world issues route that public forum takes. The speaking time is different for the affirmative and the negative because the speaking time is the same, but the speeches are set up differently, so one team doesn't have an advantage over the other, and it is a 1v1 debate, so one person is going to be debating against another person. The format and timing goes as follows. Crossfire in Lincoln Douglas is different than Crossfire in public forum. So instead of both people being able to ask questions and respond, only one person is allowed to ask questions. So say it's the negative cross-examination. That means the negation is going to be asking questions to the affirmative, and the only thing the affirmative is able to do is respond. And the only thing that the negative is able to do is ask questions. And when it's the affirmative cross-examination, it's flip-flopped.
The only thing that you really need to know about what is said in each speech is that the first speech is pre-written, and all of the rest of the speeches are written during the round, and they should be rebuttal of the other person's case.
Here's a video of my really awesome mom giving advice for judging Lincoln Douglas.
When judging Lincoln Douglas, it's important that the debaters stick to their value and criterion and do be prepared for how quickly they will be speaking.
Some common mistakes in Lincoln Douglas are...
To refute my opponent's
Ring,
point...
ring, ring.
Oh. Hi, Mom.
Excuse me, you can't do that.
It's okay, it's my mom. She's helping me with the rebuttal.
No, Quinn, that's not allowed. According to the NSDA handbook, internet access, use of email, instant messaging, or other means of receiving information from sources inside the competition room are prohibited. So you're disqualified.
Hey, man.
Must negate.
Oh, can I please have that piece of evidence?
I don't have it downloaded on my computer.
No, stop. Every single piece of evidence that you bring up in round, you're supposed to have downloaded to your computer. According to the IHSFA handbook, in all rounds of debate, complete citations for each piece of evidence introduced in the round must be available in the round for it to be considered by the judges. So, you just broke the rules, you're disqualified, get out. For people doing World Schools debate is a different type of debate than public forum in Lincoln Douglas. The case structure is much more complicated as the speeches are longer and there are more contentions, aka points, and information that is in each of these speeches. This is the structure and timing for World Schools debate. You're probably wondering why there isn't a cross-examination section, and that's because there's no cross-ex in World Schools. So to have direct clash instead of having cross-ex, people will do things called points. What they do is a debater on the opposite side of the person who is speaking will stand up and say point. The person speaking can decide whether or not they want to accept the point, and if they accept it, they'll say yes or what's your point, and if they don't accept it, then they'll wait for them to sit down. Then the debater, if they do accept it, the debater will ask their question, and then the person speaking is going to have to respond. If you would like an example of this, click to the time on the video now.
During the second speech, about half of the time will be used for 1, building contentions, and 2, clashing. Usually in the first half, one of the World Schools teams will defend their case based off of what the other team said, and the second half building their third or second final contention. After this comes the third speech. In the third speech, both teams will summarize the key points in the debate, the issues that are in the debate, and why they won. Finally comes the fourth speech. The fourth speech is the shortest, it's only 4 minutes. The rest of the speeches are 8 minutes. In this final speech, they crystallize all of their points, show their strong suits of where they won, and why those are more important than where they fall.
At the beginning of each of the constructive speeches on both sides, the AF and NEG, they're going to state the definitions of certain words used in the case, so for better clarification for the judges and the other teammates. Here's an example.
I define unnecessary as not needed.
Point.
Yes.
What dictionary did you get that definition from?
Black's Law Dictionary.
Now that we've summarized what each debate event is and what they consist of, now we're going to move on to just general debate guidelines that judges should follow.
In both public forum and Lincoln Douglas, there's prep time. Prep time can be used in between speeches to develop stuff that's going to be said in the next speech or stuff that's going to be said in the crossfire. In public forum, each side has 2 minutes of prep time, and in Lincoln Douglas, each team has 4 minutes of prep time. The prep time can be split up however the competitors want, and it's your job as a judge to make sure that they follow this and to keep track of how much prep time they used. World Schools has no prep time.
So when we talk about points within this video, what we're referring to is speaker points. Speaker points are points awarded to each team / individual just based upon how well they present their ideas, how well they speak, and how the flow of their speeches go, and whether they're good or not. So this isn't dependent at all based upon their ideas or the structure or evidence that they have within their speech, just solely on how they speak. So if there's a person that you think won the debate, you can still give them the win. But if you think the other team spoke better, you can give them more speaker points, but the other team still gets the win.
For reference, as a judge, you should always judge based off of whatever speech it is and the crossfire. Also, there's a grace period in public forum in Lincoln Douglas for 5 seconds and in World Schools for 30 seconds. As a judge, you should be judging not based off your personal beliefs and not based off of what you think is right. You should be judging based off of what the opposition negates. For example, if a team brings up something that is completely wrong and the other team doesn't negate it, as a judge, and they accept it as it is fact and they use it during debate, as a judge, it's not your job to tell them and count them off for their wrong, but it's to judge the debate as if it was just a normal fact. And here's a quote from Joe, a competitor in FHS.
Don't judge based off of what you think or your own opinions on a topic are, but purely based off of what the debaters are talking about and how effectively they were able to debate one another.
that's the end of this video. Hope it was helpful.